I've now lost something. It'll probably turn up. Oh, there it is. So when my mum toured with Cunning Stunts, I was also a baby. So there's me, sitting on a big drum, and my mum must be here, taking the picture, because she's not in this picture. I think that's Erin. That's Jan, that's Iris, that's Jill, that's Margot. Iris looks like she's about to eat me there. But my mum, she took me everywhere, so I was in the van on tour, and I honestly think this is where my, my love of theatre began. Cunning Stunts were an all-women theatre company established in 1977 by Iris Walton and Jan Dungy. There is a story behind the name. Jan really liked wordplay. She told a joke. What's the difference between a what's the difference between a magician's wand and a policeman's baton? One's for cunning stunts, the other's for... And then you have your other answer.
We are Cunning Stunts. I mean, this group of women that I came across, when I first met them, I thought, I'm not working with them, they're all mad. But I went to see the show and I thought, they're all really good as well.
The thing what makes me realise, though, was quite how bizarre we were, really, because there wasn't any, there wasn't any through line.
And there weren't a lot of women's theatre companies around at the time, in 1977, and there were definitely not a lot of women's comedy companies. It was predominantly male. Generally, even the comedy groups were male-dominated.
Women didn't do that at that time. That was quite revolutionary. It was, I think, and for women, you could see that it made a lot of difference to the people who watched.
Cunning Stunts' ethos was women can be funny, women can be wear stupid hats, call stupid jokes. They don't have to be pretty. I think also more than that, it was the idea that they could be grotesque, and like embrace the disgusting parts of themselves as well. They'd had a lot of physical gags, ugly, beastly characters. They were more like feminist in the way that they worked and in the content.
They were just such fun, and they had a political edge. I remember the flavour of it, and there was often a song, and there was often audience participation, or we'd say hooray or boo.
And what came out of it was just a really unique, exuberant, kind of energetic blend of comedy, circus, clowning, which they took to lots and lots of different places. That's my mum playing the violin in Cunning Stunts. She was an excellent violinist. The way people talk about her playing was amazing. Blew people's minds, and she was very talented.
Debbie was the most magnificent musician. She was a cunning stunt because she really had that energy about her that was a total individual, unique personality, really.
So my mum was in the Cunning Stunts for a year, and then she went on to be really politically active. She was always politically active, actually. That's a photo of her at a protest. She was a fighter, and she did dedicate her life to activism. I was 14 when my mum died, and she was killed in a bike accident on West End Lane, which was right near my house, and she was 36. I was young, but I was not so young that I wasn't. I think when you're an adolescent, it's a very odd stage to lose a parent, because you're learning. I was learning how to be a woman, and then I had lost my mum, and I guess in a way that's why I had these other women on my radar, like these ones. But I've always had this sort of feeling that they were quite significant, and they've always existed in my imagination as these sort of wild women. And I think as I was growing up, I carried that with me. You know, no one replaces your mother. You just find bits everywhere. So this is the Kiln Theatre, which used to be known as Tricycle Theatre, and it was Tricycle Theatre when I worked here. I got my first job here as a theatre usher, and when I was working as an usher here, I found out through someone who'd been here back in the day that Cunning Stunts had also played here. I didn't know quite to what extent, but I met someone who gave me a photograph of my mum performing here. And I've since found out that they've had a residency here when it was Tricycle Theatre. But what's funny is I worked here all this time and hadn't, you know, really realised that they'd been so much a part of that. So that was really nice to know, and it always made me feel a bit more at home being here. Yeah, that's a good seat. And when I come here, I just feel like I can dream. You know, I can do what I wanted to do. All through my life, I think I'd always wanted to know more of Cunning Stunts. So I got in touch with Margot, who put me in touch with Iris. And after meeting Iris, Iris said, dream it and it will happen. And I just decided I was going to try and get my play on. Knowing that I have a connection to here, and it's where Stunts had a residency and performed, and my mum performed here, it's like those reaffirming layers of life where things just interweave and connect. This is the apex resource? I don't know.
And in this photograph, there's a huge bass drum, beautifully portrayed by Flip. And there's a baby sat astride the bass drum, and the baby is wearing dungarees and a peaked cap. And then there's another lady in the corner, and she's in shadow, but she's playing an accordion. We don't have an accordion. She's playing a guitar. And there's another lady over on the other side, she's playing a saxophone.
It's about growing up, expanding my imagination and learning to be a woman and become a mother when you're motherless. How to grow old motherless.
He didn't look, and he hit my mum.
So there's a kind of personal, sort of quite tragic element, but learning it through the episodes of, like, hopefully chaotic comedy. And the wisdom that comes in comedy being used to teach.
R&D process, it can be like a bit tricky sometimes, and I think this week, like, just it really helped being fools together and doing all like exercises to trust each other and to be comfortable around each other, just, you know, let us to that moment of now we're gonna tackle that difficult moment.
I think everybody in the room was just trying to help her figure out how she wanted to tell this story.
And we're storytellers at the end of the day, so it's just trying to make sure we tell that story well. But it's still a story, even how much it connects with Bex and people that were here today.
I wanted to get Cunning Stunts in a dialogue about what we're doing.
I don't really know it, but it's a please don't you throw it on the floor. Before the pasta, you bury the antipasta, and then you bring the pasta roast up quick.
So that it's very much an organic, and you know, you've got to be careful when you're working with people's stories, I think, to make sure you've got their approval or their blessing, and that is important to me.
It was very emotional for us to see, and it was amazing that she felt so inspired and has created something new from that moment in time.
And it was quite exciting that somebody wanted to sort of work with the essence of who the stunts were and what the stunts were, and take up the musical ideas as well. So I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah.
We're ready to move on now to R&D into creation. Yes, the aim was to get a language for the piece, which we've managed to do. The aim was to create a company and build a company, which we've also done very successfully, and also to build a kind of excitement and a community around what we were doing, so that, you know, there's lots of people now who will be waiting to see the next, you know, what happens next. Lots of people who remember the stunts, and actually who really deserve to be remembered.
It's the start of a journey, and like that's gonna influence the next step, but it's like those initial baby steps.
And there's something else that's bigger happening. That's what it feels like being here, and it also feels very much like what I'm doing now was meant to be, like it's all come full circle. Yeah.